All right, all right. We're gonna have some words spoken here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Welcome to Works. And I'm Joe. I'm the president of the board here at Works, which kind of means that I look for money and I take out the trash and earlier today set up chairs for an event here that we have. We've got another event tonight. If you're into flash fiction, then Flash Fiction Forum follows tomorrow night at the same time in these exact same chairs right there. So there you have it. Around you right now is 70 some graduates of San Jose State University animation program, and that's why there's so many screens around you, and you can listen in on headphones later on, and look at their work. There's like hundreds and hundreds of images all around you, and then sort of proposed movies that they put together over here, as well as other projects like books and that sort of thing. Coming up next, we've got an exhibition around the work of an artist called Jan Rinflish. And Jan was the starter of a lot of projects here in the South Bay, and was the first director of the oh my God, what's the museum at De Anza College? I'm blanking on that, but it's a great space over there, great art space. And anyways, Jan passed away from cancer just a couple months ago. But before that, last year, she challenged a bunch of local artists, really wide-ranging group of artists, to take a piece of her work and make it into something completely different. And so we're going to show the results of that with some of her work, and then 8 other area artists who are really like contemporary workers in art, who did something new with the pieces. So Jan's work was like probably most produced back in the 1970s, and all of these things were done in the last few months. With her work since kind of the end of last year. So anyways, look for us at Work San Jose or worksanjose.org. Stephen Rubel Caba, one of our board members, has us pretty active on Instagram, so look us up over there for everything that's happening. Or go to our website, actually, and just go to any page other than the first page if you're on your phone, and go to the bottom and sign up for our e-list. If you're actually on a real browser on a laptop, then just go to the upper right corner. But nobody's on a fucking laptop, so I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so go to any page but the first page, because it's WordPress, so it scrolls till forever, so you'll never get to the bottom. Okay, speaking of getting to the bottom, no, I'm going to introduce to you now a dear friend of mine for decades and decades. Here he is right here, the president of Poetry Center fucking San Jose, Mr. Rob Pesich. Right there, right here, right there. Okay.
Thank you all for coming. Poetry Center San Jose is member supported, and if you want to know more about how to donate or participate, pcsj.org. We've got events coming up this Thursday with Raggedy Andy at the Willow Glen Public Library. See Mighty Mike McGee here. He's our host this month, and most months at third Thursdays. That starts at 7 p.m. And we've got Beautiful Black Books presenting Mona Webb at this Saturday at 11 a.m. via Zoom. This is in conversation with Shaka Campbell. And we've got Poets at Play, creative writing workshop featuring Renee Schell as our instructor, Sunday, May 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. at Markham House. Poetry Exchange via Zoom is on Sunday. And a new program, Writers Cafe at Markham House. And we're thanking David Perez for creating that program. So come on by Saturday, the 24th, 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we've also got the San Jose Poetry Slam via Zoom on Sunday, May 25th. And so check it out on our website, again, pcsj.org. And now I'd like to start the program with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Poetry Center San Jose and the city of San Jose exists on the unceded land of the Muwekma Ohlone. We recognize that the Muwekma Ohlone people are alive and flourishing members of the community today and recognize their right to this land which they have stewarded throughout generations. We acknowledge that members of the San Jose community and residents of California and the U.S. continue to benefit from the use and occupation of indigenous lands, and acknowledge that this land has come under control of various entities through violence and dishonesty, and we recognize the history and legacy of colonialism that continue to negatively impact indigenous peoples, their traditional territories, practices, sovereignty, lifeways, and well-being to this day. Now for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. You have surveys here on the chairs. Feel free to drop us a line and recommend somebody you'd like to see up here on the stage. And also there's information about how to donate to Sogoreate, which is run by indigenous women out in the East Bay, and they are buying up indigenous lands and rehabilitating those lands. So that information on the piece of paper. All right, let's start the show with the open mic. And first to the mic, please welcome Brandon Liu. Come on. What the heck?
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's great to see you all. So recently, I've been doing a bunch of tabling for PCSJ. If some of you don't know, I'm actually the program chair. And as I like to joke, I'm the gopher of PCSJ. I do a little bit of everything. So I'm out there with the table doing poetry on demand with the typewriter. And so people will come up to the table and just ask, hey, can you write a poem about this? And so I've got two I'd like to share today. This first one was asked to me from a person who was graduating high school, about to go to college, and it's called High School Will, parentheses, Never End. In some ways, it's the same. Meet people, do work, watch a deadline loom and fly by. Some days, the sky is bluer than others. Dream about the future. Dream about sleep. No one can really tell what the right thing to do is, but some have strong opinions. Learn a hobby. Make some friends. Life is hard sometimes, and bad things happen. It's okay to take a moment to sit down. You can watch the sunrise on another day. Not everyone misses high school. Some things are better. Some things are worse. It's easy to overthink things. When in doubt, think of good times. The answer is not meant to be on a test. The second one I wrote when I was tabling at the Museum of Art downtown over there, you know, the San Jose Museum of Art. And an artist came up to me and said, surprise me. So this is what came of that. It's called, It Doesn't Need to Make Sense. The box says the colors are nonstick, but I'm not familiar with how it should smell. It all burns in the pan anyway, but I'm told you're supposed to season them first. The new paint on the walls matches your eyes. Little patterns like a planet, speckled sky and all. The candles don't taste right when you're not around. I'm living in a non-reality. My hands reach for things that aren't there. Small buttons in a hallway. Glass elevators heading south. If I ever turn yellow, remember me like a Sunday. I'm cooking with the windows open. Thank you.
Next, please welcome to the mic, Pascual. Come on down.
This is from my play Paletas. I read part of it at Willow Glen, another part of it on the sidewalk across the street from Makla, and this is how it starts. The year 1849, the place San Jose, California. The brown child's little huarachis were pink, as were her clean but patched old dress. The ribbon in her black hair was also pink. She was holding a small rag doll whose braided black hair was tied also with a pink ribbon. The doll was wrapped in a little rag, like a blanket, which was also pink. She held the doll to her chest and spoke to it and sang softly to it while she stood by her mother, who was dressed in black. A few feet away, near his wife and pink-clad daughter, was a man dressed in clean but stained white linen, pants and shirt, who stood by a small pushcart on which was a wooden box. Inside the box was a large pot wrapped in wet burlap. The pot filled with ice and salt contained a smaller pot in which was the ice cream that the man had made. He had a white rag over his shoulder, and in Spanish he announced his product, which he would scoop out of the pot into tight paper cones, and thus sold each with a small wooden spoon. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, niños y niñas, señores y señoras, nieve, deliciosa nieve. The crowd gathered to celebrate the opening of the legislature and the new state of California. The Mexicans have been put in their place, vanquished. San Jose was the first capital, and the crowd gathered to hear speaker after speaker proclaim their new ownership. Many wore guns as they gave thanks to God for this rich golden bounty. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the Honorable new lawmaker, G.B. Tingley. Mr. Tingley commenced. Let us give thanks to God for the rich blessing he has bestowed upon us. We are the owners of the land, the soil, the water, the gold, not the greasers. And the crowd roared. It is us upon whose shoulders God has placed his hand, not the greasers. Mexicans, devoid of intelligence, vicious, indolent, dishonest, obnoxious to our citizens, 1 degree above the beasts of the fields, a curse to any enlightened community. The little girl saw that everyone was cheering, was happy, and she was happy too. She was standing next to two men with shiny black boots, each wearing a shiny gun. And as she softly sang to her doll, "A la ruru niña, a la ruru ya, duérmase mi niña, duérmase mi ya." And as she sang, she turned to look at her father and her mother, and with her elbow touched the man's leg, who looked at her and said to the other man, for a second, she almost looked like an actual little girl. And they both laughed. You going to the neck party tonight? You bet. Fucking Mexicans. And then he spit in the face of the little girl, who with her fingers wiped the spit from her eye, and with her wrist wiped the spit from her cheek. And she said to the man in Spanish, disculpe mucho, which means, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. The father saw this and took a step toward his daughter, who looked at him. But the wife touched his arm and said, mijo, la pistola, the gun, the gun. And one of the men said, la pistola, and laughed. And the father looked down, and then with his hand called his little girl over. And the mother wiped the little girl's face with her dress. And the little girl looked at the father and said, disculpa mucho, papa, which means, I'm so sorry, father. And the father put his hand on her shoulder, and he looked down and he said, Rica nieve, which means delicious ice cream. Delicious ice cream. Muchas gracias.
Now, please welcome to the mic, Scorpiana. Excellent.
Okay, so I was been like doing a lot of cleaning house recently, and I found a couple pieces that I started in 2021 but never finished, and I don't even quite remember writing them, but they're on my tablet. So hopefully I'll finish these one day. The first one. This is not a suicide note, but it is a cry for help. It is calloused fingers strumming heartstrings in a key of desperation, because I know why they do it. The ones who tiptoe on razor blades, hoping that the fall will be more beautiful than the land of the living. The ones who know their ghosts will be more beloved than they could ever be mortal. This is a prayer for the lonely, a psalm in 5 verses of solitary confinement, because sometimes I envy them, the ones who succeeded. But I don't want to worship the suicide. I just want to stop hurting. I want folks to understand that it isn't depression that takes us. Depression can be managed. It's the loneliness. To be continued. And this one's about my family. There is no place where untethered malice grows abundant quite like home. They know your pulse points like timetable memorization, recited like pledges to rectangles on stolen landmines. And still you will cry as bodies lower into dirt, shrouded in pine or mahogany like curio cabinets left heirloom to worms. Racking sobs will choke. You want to be still like marble. You don't want to be wailing wall. But a body bereft of Stockholm syndrome only knows to navigate stages of grief on poetry stages, only knows how to mourn and remix, only knows how to do mashup of Shiva and Rosary. How do you grieve when family is a pendulum swinging between radiation zone and landfill, and you don't know whether to simmer in sadness or relief? When the only love you knew is laced E. coli, but there's nothing else in the cupboard, and hunger strikes are too weak to light furnaces under funeral piles for the undead. Thank you.
Now, please welcome to the mic, Janine UC.
So my mom turned 90 last month. She's not doing well, but it was great. I got to spend almost a whole week with her and my dad. When we waited to cross the street, I was your eyes. When you were busy with Erica, I was your eyes on Ralph. When you were busy with Carl, I was your eyes on Erica and Ralph. When we were in stores, I read you the signs you couldn't see. However, you always found the sale signs easily. When I was 4, I sit next to you at the dining table. You're nursing Erica. I'm reading to you from my favorite book about the blueberry pie elf. When I get stuck, you say, sound it out. I love the picture showing the trail of elf footprints on the white tablecloth. Many years later, I realized that those footprints were actually left by someone dripping blueberry juice as they snuck a piece of pie. This is not related to my mom. Well, everything's related to my mom. What am I saying? Glaring damage lingers on the outside edge of my left eye, semi-detached retina. Broken wide open, soft spots of skull, puffs of cotton candy clouds, the place where my brain bled all the colors of the rainbow refracted through gray matter. Silly to celebrate a life I'm still living. Did I mention the pulsing azure of the summer sky, the kind that requires sunglasses? Yes, for a while I was mostly dead. Collateral damage on the asphalt, street stained with my own blood. The driver didn't see me until I slid across the hood. Nice to know it was not intentional. Sudden awareness in the ambulance, strapped to a backboard, held motionless, head clamped tight. 2 pairs of scissors cut through my clothes, vulture perches on my chest, tears at that one rib again and again. My mouth full of blood and broken teeth, face raw and red where skin had been, nose almost scraped off my face. I reflect upon the monster in the mirror as the surgeon imagines transformation.
Now, please welcome to the mic, Donna P.
So back in 1979, a friend of mine wrote a song, and tonight I'd just like to do the lyrics to that song. It's been coming up for me. You have colors in your smile and feathers at your brow. You've awakened from a dream of love, but the dream's not ending now. So you play it on the lucky one, kiss the mouth you find asleep, because lying there right next to you is the image from your dream. Lala is the name of it. Thank you.
Now, welcome to the mic, Jessie Marie.
There's so many cool old faces that are like my family in this room. So I just want to say it's an honor to have rolled in here on a Tuesday afternoon, evening, or whatever it is. There's a lot of traffic in San Jose, y'all. I don't know how y'all do this on the real. I give y'all props. I would like to emphasize that as a whole poem, it is not normal today. End poem. That's some new shit. Well done. Well played. So I actually have had a really rough month, a really rough week, and I wrote a new poem last weekend. So I'm going to read that new poem. Really new shit. And it's from my therapist's couch. So I have this thing about being a leader. I pour into everyone else's bucket and I don't often show up in my own authenticity and speak from my own voice. So I was challenged with where do I get seen? And the real question is, where do I show up? So I'm going to read a poem from the part of me that tends to understand love by making myself disappear. Malachite River Blues. Our sun and moon orbiting each other always predictably into infinity. This is not what I bleed. I bleed a pale white translucent coin to flip-flop sweet, tender kisses of remembrance on breathing, beating, warm marble. No, this is not the usual binary, not even remotely linear, cascading spectrums. These are definitely not morning, afternoon, night, marriage, or even average childlike rituals. This version of me, though, is just as much as under-table handhelds and under-duvet genesis have ever and always been. This more is spilling from any edges I have ever claimed or been branded by, a symposium truly of nonlinear divergent symmetries. These flowers of self bursting in a sea of ambiguous anther identities, ambrosia gushing through anguished tears. Yes, this is of joy, sometimes surely, but all of the rest of the emotional spectrum too. Honestly, it's all so muddy now just being here under this warm, blessed light. Stamen and stamen, thorn and thorn again entwined. This is often chaotic. Truly, I know this, yes, and yet here we are in these perpetual blooms. Finally, I am beginning to understand the blooms. This is what I bleed. Osmosis, a fallout of linked finger-like knowings that I am here, a flooding in of held, cupped hands, bright as any other sensation crying out, soothed. Everything is already enough. This is what I'll bleed. In my veins, a carousel of matching healing bodies, understanding, and the trace of a warm palm, my history ready and always waiting, lingering steady, ever ready to shred right through. A glance turned into a stare, turns into a shout, sensory screaming, see me. My heartbeat's cadence, inserting the remembrance of my safest place's hands, interlinked with mine, into an envelope and mailing it to all the places where my inner child's knuckles still brush through. These times, remember all the blooms, though? Bring each of them with you, all the way through. Just keep going now. Remember the blooms. It is all of the ink and all of the canvas pages, the plasma, the cosmos down the malachite rivers in my wrists, to these bone coasts of me, to my marrowed seas, to the singing guttural coast of tongue-released cheek. This is a bite from dream peach. This is what I am. This is what I hug, breathe, entangled touch. Sun and sun again, moon and moon again, circled, synchronous understanding in northern summers. Daylight fades into daylight, perpetuity unraveling, every space groaning in wrestled, messy gratitude, never, ever so simply. It's never, ever so simply, and yet arriving fragmentingly whole. Every aspect, completely me. This is exactly what I am, completely me.
Now, please welcome to the mic, Larry Hollis.
Monday through Thursday, you can find me after I drop my son off at school at the Panera on Hamilton and Campbell. And during April, I did the daily 30 for 30 challenge. Most of the days I came up with them, but every once in a while I get stuck. So I look for a prompt, and the prompt from that day from the Writer's Digest was love. So this is what I wrote. Love in Panera. I see a young couple looking with awe into each other's eyes, reaching out, touching each other gently. I see an older, retired couple in their set routine. She orders, he gets their coffee, and greets all the other regulars. A mother comes in with her three of her kids, a treat during spring break. I take a break from my job search and writing to text my wife, my two grown sons to say, I love you. And I wrote this morning. It's called, It Must Be 9 p.m. Oh, I hear coming from the back of the store. I smile because I know I'll soon see the nonverbal young man skip jumping as he does laps around the store. I say to myself, it must be 9 p.m. He puts a smile on my face to see the joy on his face as he does his nightly excursion to Target with his sister and mother. Thank you.
Now, please welcome to the mic, Mighty Mike McGee.
Hello. Well, those of you here and those of you on Zoom, thanks for joining us. Want to read two, if that's okay, but if they feel long to you, which they are, then just tell me to get out of here. Where did I put them? I deserve it. I'm a horrible person. All right. First one. It's called Human Interference, and this was number 28 of my 30 for 30 in April. This is number 28. Human Interference. Feeling cheerful from the bus to the gas station convenience store. The attendant and I exchange smiles. My coffee is almost too hot to hold. The neighborhood between the attendant's smile and my classroom is a ghost town. A few lawns are freshly mowed, the only evidence of human interference. I have never seen a neighbor on this walk. It is a warm morning. I cross the street to the next corner. The house that meets me smells wrong, acrid, pungent, rotting. I scan the overgrown yard and find a cat on the street side of the house, between the house and the bordering chest-high chain link fence, a point that cannot be seen from their porch, an indecorous final resting place. My first thought is, ew, that doesn't belong there. Someone really needs to take care of that. Flies hop around the corpse. I stand there, fascinated as they are, tempered with disgust. My class starts soon. I wish this cat died in a better place. The homeowner probably doesn't know it's lying here. I feel for the person who will discover it. But I put a stop to that. I feel for the cat instead. If only this neighborhood hadn't been in the way. That it had to give its last breath to the decorative white quartz piled on top of sheets of weed-suppressing fabric. Not soil, not grass. I wish this cat could have found a wooded area or a shoreline, a breeze to carry away whatever might float. I hope I do too. For the next few weeks, I will make a right at the dead cat until it is gone. More evidence of human interference, but not proof of life. Thank you. Do you mind if I read one more? Okay. I wrote this for, and I think actually Joe got to hear this one because I read this at the new Museum of Los Gatos. We just recently got to watch the award ceremony for. Yeah. I was on the dais right after you got Yeah. 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 Thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. New Museum, New Mu, asked Joe to judge the youth art that was submitted. I think it was 94, 96 pieces, something like that, of art from youth all around the South Bay. And then they had asked me to then look at the art that got submitted and write a poem that was sort of on the theme. And the theme was dreamscapes. And so I wrote this. And I really did try to collect what I could from what I saw of the art. My job was not to judge the art, it was just to be inspired by it, right? And so, dreamscapes. This is called To Build a Dream That Can. Wake up. There is work to do, and some things we must never do. Like when the moon comes to your window in muted rays of soft light, like the kindest spotlight, transitioning the scene from evening to night. Whatever you do, do not reach out of that window and gently push the moon away with your fingers. Because I hear that if you do, it may never come back. We will need that light. How am I supposed to wrestle the struggle all by myself? With no mouth and no eyes, just me and a heartbeat. The only instruction I can find came in a photograph of a smiling dog. So then I will sing to your shoulders. A celebration serenade for lifting spirits with pixels and ink. Not just my spirits, but the wandering and the wayward. The body curious, those paralyzed by loneliness. The ones smiling through more hardships than an ocean can float. When you fall asleep, I want to greet you in a rowboat. Get you out of this galaxy. It'd be easier to fly. I mean, why can't we just lift ourselves from our beds? Let our sheets fall to the floor as the roof opens. Artists and good ideas should always meet midair. We'll bring turntables to the beach, play Kendrick for the whales, bring a busload of zoo animals to an office building. We'll eat invisible neon snow cones and stare at bodies in pundit blue suits, in gray boxes, keyboards floating in tears, daydreaming about being small again and held by the biggest love they've ever known. Why can't we build dreams out of now? Out of no more empty bellies, no more gut punch headlines, weaving hope out of chaos in the Fight Back World Championship. We all deserve to live again. Like the first time you ever woke up. Slumber time blueprint of understanding. So that when we are awake, the world is too. I love you. Now, please welcome to the mic, Joe Miller.
Hey, yeah. About that show. I mean, I'm a 63-year-old college professor, and so I get really concerned about the future because I see it like right in front of me like every day, and think like, man, like there's some folks out there who can like run the future, and some who like really scaring me, you know. And that show of high school students was just really inspiring. It was really great, and I'm one of those people who gets like instantly regretful, and I regretted right away not like saying anything about Mike's thing because I was like next, and nobody said anything because like I hope everybody was just stunned about like I just got a tour of that show, you know, and you can still go see it at the New Mo. So anyways, this little piece it's kind of about my mom. She's at the end of it. Everything's about her mom, of course, you know. And it's about kind of the way that I write, which is like I can't write a poem, but I can write a line, you know, and then I write another line, and a couple of weeks later there's another little line, and then I find something and that becomes a line and whatnot. This is kind of that way. I don't have this one memorized, so I'm gonna read it from this sheet. It's called Raw Materials. The bee family consists of a queen bee, drone bee, and worker bee. If not fresh and in good condition, return unused portion for replacement, state when and where purchased. At the foot of the Narrows, deep in a cave, the Winnebago legend tells, lives a powerful spirit. The spirit comes out once a year to look out for the welfare of its Indian people. The spirit has no power, over the white man, whose coming the spirit did not foresee. The queen bee's duty is to lay 500 eggs per day. A hive in June and July contains from 60 to 80,000 bees. In Greek legend, Pandora was the first woman on earth. In the real story of Pandora, the jar contained blessings that were being preserved for man. When the jar was opened, all blessings but hope escaped. To gather a pound of honey, worker bees travel over 75,000 miles, comparable to a trip around the globe. The champagne of beers, insert AC plug both ways, use position which produces least hum. Always mention the following numbers in any correspondence: N50776-35 1316-4159. OK for exterior or severe service application. Use frequently. It's a product of sanitary science. First pull up, then pull down. Drone bees are the males. They do not work. Drones are alive to rest in the hive all summer. When the first cold spell of winter comes, all the drones are pushed out of the hive to die. In the study of conditioned reflex, if an electric shock causes the finger to lift, and if a bell is rung before the shock, eventually the finger lifts when the bell rings, just before the shock. Worker bees are specially developed females. After about 6 weeks of intense labor, their wings simply wear out and they die. My mother. I know she's my mother because everyone tells me so. Sliced open the back of her foot under a 60-foot illuminated cowboy waving and pointing at the casino. She drove the van across the Great Salt Lake to the nearest clinic. I've thought, decades later, that's a lot of salt for one womb. State the business of nature. May I borrow your insignificance? I'll get it right back. I wouldn't try to teach you. Please frustrate me. She didn't say no. I didn't ask her. Hold me gently in your contempt. What information do you desire? Call up the talk show. There are words that have no meaning. I use them to talk to you.
Now concluding the open mic, please welcome to the mic Rica de la Luz.
Damn, Joe, you're gonna make me work. That was fun. This is cool in here. I just found out like a couple days ago that there was a new place for works. I met a neighbor who's also an artist who, like when you're on the other side of the wall, you don't see people. I bump into people in the elevators, and it's just cool. So, a couple pieces, not too long, from some cool zoomy poetry things where prompts happen and words come together. And I don't really edit, but sometimes I edit in the moment. So, if you feel an edit, you can yell it out. Be like, cactus. No. Anyway, this is called Begging Bowl. I blame Joe. The difference between isolation and our opportunity is vast and simple, but comes down to three things: choice, communication, and coincidence. I don't know why I started writing this in all capitals. Was that a coincidence? Or was it simply a choice in communication style? Is it a coincidence that I live in a barrio where lack and fear collide daily with sharing and abundance? I think not, for my nickname is Rica, rich in flavor and culture I've had to scrape back together for myself out of dumpsters, free bins, food banks, roadside free piles, and the wild back 40. The community I live in is a perfect example of this interesting paradigm, this duality, this American dream, mixed message, experimental, toxic dump site turned campus of higher learning, if not earning. This white privilege wrapped up neatly into a tax credit live work opportunity, this artist mix volatile cocktail of poverty, privilege, and hope, and it's handed out as organic fair trade Kool-Aid at the town hall workshop. They didn't tell us that we were to become the antidote to the poisonous package of affordable housing. Most of us are here because we must create. This is not a choice, but a calling. That said, the isolation of being a creative in a corporate world can make us blind to the millions of opportunities that slip past us each day as we grow accustomed to a slower pace of hustle when the sun is out and the sage is blooming and some of us still have jobs to go to and the rent must still get paid. Pain and another distraction to the call to action. Poverty, still a pandemic, but the proportion to actual lack in this faction is more fiction than fact. Fact. I've lived below the poverty level for all of my adult life, probably most of my childhood. But you never know it the way I live. Familia que me queda como la princesa Federica. My mother barely let it slip that we were in danger of eviction or homelessness. I only caught glimpses of her tears of frustration or the tone of shame when we had to put something back in the grocery line because the math just wasn't there to support the hope for a treat. But in reality, I live with more than the average human on this planet of too many kids and not enough nanas to rock them to sleep, keep them clean and clothed. But I'd rather be naked and a bit dirty if they would let me. I turn in organic tampons in my iPhone for a pet rana en un jardín salvaje y el permiso que coser mis sueños grandes como la abuela araña. Being seen as poor or uncared for was the biggest fear my mother had, because maybe she could remember true hunger and the prayers that were made in her honor when she was born on death's doorstep, an offering almost to Santa Muerte. The nanas pleaded for her life, fed her blood and bones, and she is still trying to repay her debt. I digress. I have never known this kind of isolation, the kind of poor that makes you not show up for supper with family because you have nothing to bring but an empty bowl. In some cultures, this is accepted as a sign of the ascetic, monastic, holy even. But here in America, poverty is a crime of isolation, and the opportunities come with boxes. Boxes of humiliation that you must check in order to even think about passing go. I will not waste this opportunity of isolation. I'm waking up and making lists, talking with my neighbors, the elders, the dogs, the birds, the youth, the ancestors. This is my time to step up and choose community.
Henna, our feature now. We're calling people back from the Poetry Invitational tonight, and very happy to have Sophia Rodriquez with us in the house. She's a published author of Healing My Hurts and a writer whose work highlights themes of self-love, identity, and the exploration of social and developmental issues. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Behavioral Sciences from the University of Maine at Fort Kent and is currently pursuing a Master's in Counseling Psychology with an emphasis in health psychology at Santa Clara University. Sophia's writing has been featured in De Anza's Red Wheelbarrow Literary Magazine 2019 and Eastside Magazine in January 2023. An active participant in the Bay Area's poetry community, she has performed at open mics and poetry slams across the region. You can follow Sophia on Instagram. Please now welcome Sophia Rodriquez.
Thank you, guys. I make sure I'm like talking in the right spot here. It's good. I don't know if they told you, but I have 25 minutes and I'm gonna use it all. First off, thank you, San Jose Poetry Center, for inviting me. I am so honored to be here in this space. And thank you, Work San Jose. This is amazing that a place like this is available for creativity, for community. And I'm very thankful to be a part of it. Tonight, I'm going to be reading from my book, but I'm also going to be reading from my personal journal. When I was a little girl, I would write poems to myself, thinking nobody wanted to hear them. And I built up the courage one day to go and share them. And I realized there's still some poems that I needed to build some courage to share. So while I was thinking about what I wanted tonight to be, what I wanted the purpose of this to be, and I was struggling with this thought, I realized I was here before. Hot sand trickling off of me like water. I stand up on ocean desert. Thank God for eyelashes to keep the salt out. Last time I was here, I came with scales. My best friend was a rock. When I was cold and lonely, I held him. Sometimes I hid under him for warmth. The time before that, I came with armor. I was rooted in one spot, standing 7 feet tall, thorn-protected aloe blood. I held water, but not as much as the camel I once was. That reminds me, I once was a camel. I did not live in the desert, but I passed through often. I knew the cactus and the lizard. I was once many different eyes and skins. I once lived from the highest perspectives as well as the lowest depths. I came with wings, a tail, a pointed beak. I came soft and rough, fast and slow. I came with bright colors. I came with no colors at all. I came with teeth, sharp ones. I never questioned why. Only who would I come as next? Why should I question my purpose now? Thank you. So if you've seen me perform, you've probably seen me perform something a little bit more optimistic, something hopeful. I am that person. I put that out there, but I also feel like there's a piece of me before that lived in a darker spot. My dreams weren't always as bright. And to understand how bright my dreams are now, you have to understand, well, in a dream, I watch my body go numb for no real explanation other than it is just that time of the night. Chills run down my spine and my eyes go with them and the lights go out. Yet I see my now lifeless body. I see the me I once was, yet death feels like everything I was meant to be. How empty. This poorly built vessel. No scales for protection, no venom or daggers other than the ones I hide in my words. And even then, I misuse them. Casualties of family and friends, I've misused them. Is this what they call enlightenment? Light like a feather, as empty as the hollow quill. How perfect to be empty, to be so new and old simultaneously. I have only been this age today. In this dream, I'm not scared of the dark, just relieved. Relieved that there is no expectation of me to get off the ground, to be anything less than a body or anything more than a corpse. So I'm a therapist now, which is kind of cool. I've worked on opening up, talking about my feelings, helping other people talk about their feelings. But again, there was a point before this one where I didn't really know how to trust people. Something seemed a little fragile about it. I see windows that say, trust me. I jump out of them onto concrete safety nets sturdy enough to build a tower on, to build 100 windows in that tower. 100 windows in one tower would seem like a useless task to consume. So I do, as I'm used to consuming useless tasks. At the highest window, it says, trust me. No hesitation. I get a running start and leap. Just like before, no shallow promise is found. I've learned safety can never truly be promised. I land firmly on something hard. Every hard thing has its own purpose. This purpose is to fly. It's a plane high in the sky, 50 windows, 51 including the windshield. It's obvious I am the pilot and this window is meant for me. I take it, the seat behind it. I've learned to take things while I can. But as I fly with the clouds, the window still cries to me, saying, trust me. I take a deep breath, diving through the now shattered glass. Half a balloon, basically a blanket, follows behind me. Things tend to follow behind me. The best free fall anyone ever experienced. If anyone was okay with hitting the ground, okay with finding another window, one that says, trust me. Let's assume for a minute I am not that person. Maybe I wanted to just jump, not land, not fly, not float, just jump. I've learned there's nothing special about trusting windows or people. Obviously, that's a lie, because I'm a therapist now and I believe in trusting people. I'm gonna take a break from these and read from my book. If you guys are interested in it, I have copies in the back for sale. When I was a little girl, I grew up in a little bit of a toxic environment. I love my mom and dad and we've done a lot of healing. But little kids don't really know how to share when there's something not right. Sometimes this comes out in tantrums. For me, it was in panic attacks and deep depression by 6 years old. And so in my book, there's these two poems side by side, and they're twins. I'm gonna read their titles to you, and then I'm gonna read them, together. First one's called Earthquake Survivor. I could have called her a black hole. And the second one is called Black Hole Survivor. There's a small earthquake where my heart should be. I couldn't tell you why we had to go to the doctors that spring, but in a dark room, I was hooked up to sensors through sticky pads and wires. I remembered it happening despite forgetting the purpose. Now, I like to think that panic attacks and earthquakes are synonymous. Anxiety is my heart's handshake. When she skips a beat, it is more like a foreshock, greeting me before I undoubtedly tremble. There's a small black hole where my heart should be. I couldn't tell you why we had to go to the doctors that spring. But in a bright room, I was evaluated by women with clipboards. I remember it happening despite forgetting the purpose. Now, I like to think that depression and black holes are synonymous. Melancholy is my heart's hug. When she sucks me in, it is more like a vortex greeting me before I undoubtedly fade into my surroundings. So when you have all those feelings as a kid, you just want to turn them off. And what happens, at least what happened in my case, is something called dissociation, where you just cut off all connection to your feelings. And that sucks because you also don't get to experience the good ones. When I started to experience the good ones, again, it's, when you fall in love for the first time. And if you guys ever fell in love for the first time, you know that Loving can be hard, and you probably did it wrong the first time that you did it. I was convinced that this wasn't my problem, and this is the poem that came from this. The difference between a man and a woman. People are weird. We bite our tongues and flip our hair and hope the world disappears, or at least hope we do. We judge the ones across from us, afraid of our own faults. We quiver at the thought of our hearts beating too short or too long. Humans smile through tears, laugh through pain, and after all that, we joke about sadness. Why do we speak of civil man and yet underplay savage emotion? Raw and real, passionately erotic emotion. The human species is the most dynamic yet, but can't control the overwhelming sensation of love or decipher that from lust. Eyes are more intimate than kisses. Sex becomes a pastime instead of an expression. Feelings disappear into the background as if they had no place at all. People are more likely to show their skin than to show their true intentions. Where the animal does and does not care, humans care and does not do, holding back their own voice for a type of justice they call equality. And though humans are the same species, men and women are completely different. I've seen this in the warfare we call love. And although we look the same broken and sound the same crying and wish to disappear, and when we can't, we bite our tongues and flip our hair, a loveless heart looks different on a man. A woman may have no more love to give, where a man may have had no love at all. So I start healing, taking you guys on a little journey here from my, this is my journal. These are really my journal. I resonate with all these poems. I start healing. And as I start healing, I realize like, oh, this doesn't have the same connection as my pain did. And I realized I wanted to sit a little longer in my pain. Nobody wants to hear that someone else understands their pain when they're hurting. They want it to be special. I wanted this pain to be special, and I realized, well, this is titled Underwhelmingly Unrelatable. And that has been the most relatable thing about me. I bet you count the stars too, questioning your own existence, contemplating with the sky, who will hear me? I bet you distance yourself like stars between galaxies. When you're lonely, I bet you find power in it. I bet you hide in your own misery as if gravity doesn't have to keep you down. I bet it's not even a fight anymore to be sad. How do you choose to sleep? I bet it's on your stomach, face in pillow, comfort in suffocation, or maybe you sleep on your side. The doctor does say it helps the heart or the stomach. Either way, this is the most responsible act you've done for yourself. I bet you're scared of the doctor. Because when there's no more broken bones and open wounds, what will you blame the pain on? It is so mediocre to know you this well. I say to my reflection in the moon. Thank you, guys. If you enjoyed any of those, copies in the back, shameless plug. Back to these. In my family, we have a long history of substance abuse, addiction, and it's a really confusing thing, a really sad thing to see somebody you love turn into someone you don't recognize. He's a storybook or a horror film or a magic trick. Yes, a magic trick, like a wizard. A wizard in a storybook who makes potions. Potions straight out of a horror film. Potions that are really poisons, really scary poisons, and he drinks them. And it changes him. Yes, like a magic trick, and it is a magic trick because he used to be a wizard. And now he's just a man. And the potion poisons is just a bottle. And he's not a storybook. And he's not a horror film. Just magic trick. A sad, sad magic trick. You guys are getting a little look into my life as I explain these things. I'm healing, still healing, always healing. One of the things I realize gets in the way of healing, of experiencing the fun parts about life, is fear. I'd say I love you out loud, unafraid of consequences, like embarrassment of you not saying it back, or like fear of me maybe not meaning it. Like maybe I don't really know what love is. I'd take myself on walks by the beach every single day. I'd paint every room in my house a shade of pink. I'd eat sushi for all my meals. If I could be sure that the way I feel is real, that it's lasting, that what's inside won't change, can't change, and when I overdo loving something again, I won't look like a fool. I won't ruin the good thing that brought me joy by forcing it to be too much, asking it to take up space when it was only meant to take up moments. But I never heard of beaches running out of sand. And as far as I know, we can still make more pink paint. And I've had sushi for the last 6 days and I'm still not sick of it. I don't think running out of love is possible for me. And yet here I am, rationing my words like I'll starve if I leave a few out to float in between your ears. If you don't hear me, did I say it? If you don't believe me, does it matter? If I change my mind, does it make me a bad person? I'd say I love you out loud. I'd say I love you out loud if I wasn't afraid. You guys. My last poem, I wrote this one for a friend that I kind of questioned the audacity of me. I kind of questioned if she was really falling in love because it didn't look fun, didn't look like what I thought love was. And then simultaneously after I wrote the poem, I ended up getting into a relationship where I was like, maybe this is exactly what I was seeing, exactly what I wrote about. So I guess I wrote this poem for a friend, and I also wrote it for myself. She loves him. Barely. Enough. As much is needed to, like an obligation. The least she can do to say, I do. In passing a test kind of way or checking a list, there is no lock on her lips. She doesn't talk about butterflies, doesn't know what it's like to swallow I love yous, doesn't get the tension in her throat. She's not afraid of loving too hard. She simply won't. She loves him intentionally, on purpose, convinces herself this is true love. She can do it every day without fail. She argues to herself, this is a true love's tale. You won't hear of the nights spent morphing each other's souls to the same lifeline. There were no Saturday mornings tangled together in bed, unafraid of wasting the daylight. They didn't laugh in a bubble while surrounded by the world. Nothing was gifted by God, nothing was special. She just loved him as she should. But she knows there's a bit of love missing. The last part. The part that makes loving someone a blessing, turns silence into meditation and talks into confessions, which is why there is no cry in her leaving. She could have stayed. But what is the point in loving someone? Barely. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate everyone who came out tonight. And thank you again, San Jose Poetry Center, for inviting me, and Work San Jose for hosting.
Rodriquez. Our next guest tonight, Jason Santiago LaCour, is a Filipino French Creole spoken word poet and hip hop artist from the Midwest, now living in Santa Cruz. You can find him most weekends at Sacred Mud Henna and Tattoo Studio at the Tannery Arts Center, offering workshops, coaching, and henna and jagua, hand art by appointment. In partnership with Rica Smith de la Luz, he hopes to inspire a creative message of peace and empowerment. A part of Mic Drop, the monthly open mic at 418 Project, and a member of Writers of Color Santa Cruz County, he works to contribute to a strong community of artists and supporters locally and globally. Currently, he is developing a grant project in collaboration with CityArts and Arts Council Santa Cruz County called Poets on the Path, in efforts to revitalize our San Lorenzo Riverwalk. Please give it up for Joseph.
Nice, 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 nice. A round of applause for Rob Pesich, please. It's amazingly thankless work. Really, this is beautiful. So I appreciate y'all really being here and just dedicating time and energy to the art of poetry, which has saved my life on many levels. Thank you, Sophia. That was a beautiful reading, fam. Thank you. This is the business of getting my rhythm. And yes, it is written. I hope you are listening. Let's just let go. I'll be your witness and bless it, yeah, baby, as if it's a christening, crossing the boundaries of space and time. Beating that makes it mine. Yeah, shaking and shining, awaken, aligning, forsaken, forgotten. I'm breaking the clock. I'm on break when I rock, and I work while I'm dreaming. I dream while I'm working. I'm focused. I'm certain. I'm certainly murking these weak MCs. Mercury heat when I speak, they freeze. Wait. Hate. What makes them so frayed? Cause I get so paid, you in retrograde. Do not pass go or be an asshole. Pass me that lighter fire Tabasco. Cease and seco. Calm the hell down. Don't get so hot that you have a meltdown. Don't be so negative. This shit gets better, kid. Love is the subject. We are the predicate. I am the predator. Watching you, stalking you. Robots can't stop us. You're the aliens, not us. My people put the EO in people and the OE in poet, the bro with the flow with the glow. It's a crown. I'm golden, I'm brown. I'm holding shit down like gravity ground. Bouncing, keep bouncing so I can keep counting. I'm 40, I'm fuego. I flow from the fountain. I spring from the mountain like lava, like Pele, like goddess, like lessons. It hits you like melee. My name is Joseph Jason Santiago LaCour, and I am losing my shit. I'm sure everyone in earshot can tell somewhere before and between ever since I've forgotten how to exist. Watch closely as I walk through the door. Acknowledge everyone in the room using a seemingly well-balanced blend of Southern courtesy and ghetto outside voice. I will smile and laugh, often unnecessarily, attaching to every punchline nervous guffaws, making and maintaining eye contact intentionally. I'll use nonverbal cues and body language to easily align communication skills sharpened by years of customer service and matriarchal conditioning. The streets have taught me how to speak first, break the ice and water walk over the shards, avoiding triggers with precision. I feel I seldom befriend the shiny ones for fear of setting false expectations on either end. My friends are aware by now that I rarely go out. I'll say I'm down, no doubt. While in earnest, I prefer distance enough to touch without crushing. I'd rather douse myself in gasoline and roll a joint alone, longing for lightning to strike, watching Star Trek, We're the Next Generation, almost too balanced. I straddle the fence between being honest and being liked. I'm likely to die over my over-analysis of our interactions retroactively. Attention to detail, almost on the spectrum in a shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of way. I say, man, way more than I want you to. Truth is, I've been perverted by abuse of us both, to the point of finding peace in being broke and broken. Believe me, at times breathing becomes voluntary, and this is where I worry that if I stop dancing, I will stop laughing, and uplifting will become a thing I used to do. My words will grow into hollows, holding only contempt for requests to be heard, and feeling will be stripped down to extremes. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I salute you who struggle. The stress is unbearable, even for the strong, but falling prey to this beast is not speaking up, sinking into the dark and not reaching up, crucified to an anchor of anguish. What we feel means just as much as the very air in this room. See, fear keeps us alive. Love lets us live, lets us let go. This buoyant soul is worth its weight in salt. It's not your fault you can float. Find your fight and fuck it. Despite our programmed attraction to destruction, we are born to be. To be a single leaf in an ancient forest of to be. The lone wolf howling cursed spells at her moon cry. To be free. To be. Yeah, thanks a lot, y'all. I'm kind of just working through that initial nervous energy, and kind of just like super grateful. I'm grateful for community and like let's just like amazing, inspiring human beings. Like we live in Santa Cruz and it's lovely. But it's also I wrote a poem about it. I'm from the Midwest, top to bottom. Summer in the city, born island-blooded believer in love heals. I feel most folks and say hi almost unconditionally. Spiritually, I know just enough to keep searching. Admittedly, tight-eyed often. I see everything I can, limited though by so-called manly, lonely, and holiness. I am so-called blessed to have experienced and survived a broken marriage and parenthood. By the way, patriarchy puts fathers farther. You know, for the life of me, I can't find a receipt for that soul I sold. Yo, you can buy psychoses wholesale. There's an app. Like, share, subscribe, you get a new issue every month. See, we are in recovery, Earth's rediscovery, uncovering new corners of this planet daily, manifesting renewed purpose / service. If worth is measured by our truth, I'm not suicidal anymore, but I've worn that hat and I know now when something ain't right. I walk down the levee and something ain't right. Santa Cruz is a paradox of a paradise. Inferno fertilized, I inherited property in purgatory. My story spans miles and miles of God, I hate it here, where justice just lies flat, where long walks in the sun cold suck and stretch each sudoriferous gland to its limit, where living your best life is a criminal offense to a long line of tourist turned colonizer, aka KKK, settled in our ways. Once was is like sweet water for sacred elders. And at 48, in 2025, I am no longer subject to gravity. Having lived, worked, and struggled in at least 7 major cities, never before have I been so exposed to homelessness, mental illness, and substance abuse. New to this planet, I'm shocked how hot the block is. I mean, I'm just a domestic abuse-enabled latchkey grandma's boy who toys with words and blazes, bumping J Dilla daily. I mean, I'm just a coyote, smuggling dreams, yipping at the moon for dancing, perched in a poem from afar for a spell, and I gotta tell y'all, something ain't right. Our black and brown folk all beaten till broken and tokenized, eyes wide shut in such close proximity to our evolution. Look but don't touch, look close and you won't want. I mean, really, what will it take to make you make a difference? No more ashtray change to sedate your traffic light humanitarianism. No more shaking your head at another zombie on a stolen bike. No more sidewalk tents or tense exchanges with a loved one lost. Turn Nosferatu. Cops too polite. Too uptight, want to fight. The night is daughter dragon in melted mascara, throwing up entitlement all in their highlights. Life under these bridges echoes a stagnant smell. Dim lights smiled defensively with extensive knowledge of the new hard times, trying to halt the river from rising above our empty expectations. California is lactating, nursing its 170-year-old infant soy formula and chamomile. But really, I like it here. Like a satellite that fell into an unknown, perfectly sized ocean. 93 till infinity stones stacked like chakras. I'm still twisters and thunderstorms at heart. I'm still sharp winter winds and slang spit, fam. Damn, Joe, but yo, I love it here. Like listening. My partner and I glistening through the trees at each other, just wondering where the rainbow went. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I love coming up here. San Jose is beautiful because there's always some shit popping off, like, you know, good and bad. So, like, I encourage you to support the artistic community. If you're creative, I encourage you to just keep creating. Write something daily that you're not legally required to. Like, it's makes a difference. You're making a difference. Welcome to the jungle, Earths and the suns too. Take a walk. It's too beautiful to run through. I'm your tour guide and your bodyguard. Call me Jay. I study Kung Fu, Art of War, Sun Tzu. Easy like 1, 2. I really want you to get up in the rhythm with me. One brew, a blunt. Ooh. I'd rather mango and tango with lime in it. Stick a rhyme in it, feeling good in 5 minutes. Anything you might witness is yours and my business. If this is a visit, just pay attention till I'm finished. See the life with us. Let the light heal us. And trust me, cuz the bugs just might kill us in the jungle. Yeah. In the Jungle. In the jungle. Yeah. In the Jungle. To the tourist, it's an endless abyss of concrete, broken glass and steel, real green with greed. The streets are like tributaries to various interstate-like waterways, the banks of which are the cracked sidewalks that flourish with life on a whole new level. Vibration. So subtle. By the time you feel it, yo, you know it's trouble. Trees are evenly dispersed amongst the natives for the purpose of self-maintenance. Some of us find shelter in these leaves and grow too comfortable to leave, so those leaves are then melted and molded into trinkets and trademarks for bravehearts with the rite of passage, like Puff Puff Pass It. Only papyrus, no plastic. The overgrowth is drastic. Indigenous tribes are damn near extinct. Think so-called jungle fever, dark and light, blending into shadows, covering the pursuit of our roots. The mating call is hidden proof. Languages hang long and loose from family tree branches, fed by fantasies captured and capped off with shots of Patron clapped off, till I got you alone off with that cloth. Nothing that's soft should be so wrong. Jungle. There's an order to it all. From its burros and elephants to its guerrilla warfare politics. How volatile a mix of ecosystems, bumping victims, pumping fists and jumping block to block, mocking the back and forth rocking of chameleons. Really, son, don't fucking come here unless you're from here. See, I left the jungle, but it never left me. And when none of the other lands would accept me, this place blessed me with sanctuary. So now I find peace in the pulse of the hustle. And if there's beef, my peeps on the double follow my war cries. War paint, tattered and scarred with reminders of the price of life here. Survive your first 25 here, and you're suddenly humbled by the madness and majesty, the sadness and tragedy of this break in economical, tropical ecstasy. Walk the path of light. It grows like right next to me. And together we will learn to rise above the canopy, anarchy, and the insanity of a beautiful place that we call home. Yo, can I compliment Joe and Rob and all of y'all for the mic? Like, it sounds truly heavenly. Like, yo, like, don't even send me to heaven. Just give me this mic and just let me sleep. I'll be good. I'll be good. Thank you very much. I know it takes a lot. Good job. Oh, okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. Hey, nice. Cool. This one I actually want to I want to dedicate this one to my wife and amazing partner, who also happens to be a culinary artist amongst all of her many tools. A knife is one of them. So this is called Eat More Poems. Good morning. I love you. May you have risen, stretched, and hydrated. We are thankful you have made it. Get comfortable, reconnecting. Yes, please, and thank you. Have a seat. Let's eat more poems. Hi, I believe I'd like some inspiration for breakfast. A tall glass of fresh squeezed affirmation. Homegrown organic exchanges for lunch. For supper, we can dine both under and upon the stars over a healthy helping of heaven prepared so very caringly. Share the light. Bless it. However a vesper tastes to the child in us, let's just eat more poems. If you're going to have anything at all, let it be nourishing. Family is a garden flourishing. Divine earth first. Let's sow a seed. Give her all we know she needs to grow. Observe with patience. Patience. And then consciously harvest. Let's laugh and cultivate culture in each bite, believing ourselves worthy of what dreams may come to the table and transcend. Let's eat more poems. La palabra es medicina. Make an offering to the temple. We feed our machines and make magic to fuel trips to new tomorrows. Sweet smiles, sour sorrows, bitters between us. Just chew slow. Breathe. Have seconds. That's what take our time means. We are the grace. Tain tayo. Buen provecho. Bon appetit. Let's eat more poems. Yeah. Yeah, y'all are amazing. I also want to invite everybody down to Santa Cruz. Come down to Santa Cruz. Right now. Yeah, yeah. Smoke sesh in the parking lot at my house. No, like it's an amazing little island. It's like right over the hill, you know. Weekend traffic is bananas, you know, but like it's beautiful. We totally, you know, really, really invite people to come down. We have a henna and tattoo studio. We'll be doing workshops and stuff, including this coming Sunday, actually. It's my birthday. And word. We'll be doing a workshop, a cannabis-friendly writing workshop, kind of just going over poems and talking about it from 2 to 4 at the Tannery Arts Center. You're welcome to come down. There's also Mic Drop, which happens at the 418 Project every last Sunday of the month. This coming one is Senor Gigio, super dope human beings. He reads tarot also, in addition to being a hip hop artist. I'm like, word. I love the intersections. Cool. So I have an important poem that I kind of want to share before, you know, I go much further. But basically, it was brought forth by my own trauma and response, and I think writing about it is truly potentially healing for folks. So thank you for doing that work, family. I really, really have worked out a lot through talk therapy. This poem kind of came from that. It's called Basement. When it's quiet, I feel safe. Like lots of pillows and blankets with satin trim. Don't fall asleep though, please. We are vulnerable to memories of the dark, empty places through which we have passed. Experience tells me broken ghosts are deafened by bright light and hear only their own hearts breaking. Mine is whole here with you. Stay. We'll keep each other quiet. Make us small and unattractive. Soon, escape will become an obsession. Camouflage is key. You see, once I died too. In a Chicago basement apartment a million miles from family. I know now this is where I first contracted distrust for men, white, late teens with blurry face and distorted voice, among a number of sitters at that time, before time is defined by school, before stranger danger, before no, when you do what big people say, okay? Prayers have overwritten the words he used, me instead. What language does a child rapist speak? Friendly? Snacks. When cartoons were color, but TVs are not. Hoovers are sharp-edged sacks of potatoes, and the Frigidaire is still an icebox. Pipes hiss. The air tastes like lost house keys. Ceilings groan with indifference. Poured concrete floors refuse to remember any more spills. All the exits small and up high. Sidewalk outside. I'd call for help if I were in any real danger. I think I was thinking, I'm in a submarine. That's why it's cold. Always and always, I remember wearing a hush puppy sweater and something like Danny in The Shining, maybe even corduroys and pro-kids too. Too innocent to run, though. It seems now only bad things happen in basements. a particularly bad thing that will hurt forever, hurt like no other thing, and your every thought will wrap around it like the dead tree outside his bedroom window cracked. I've not left this hole since it was dug for me. Me and my bestest friend then, we took turns dying, face down, quilted, feeling up and filling us with his shame. I shudder to think this happened more than once. That my mother in her maternal infancy was able to see past his mask and hear the tears in my laugh after. Man, I didn't tell her until I was 30. Healing is broadcasting this exorcism. In this moment, either he is dust and his demons wrote this poem, or my 5-year-old body was not to his satisfaction and he walks the earth still, a pestilence in search of another host. Children have to stop dying this way. Our executioners die every day that we live. And therapy, like what rescued me, works its way salty into each abuser's open wound. Survival comes before forgiveness. Truth has no statute of limitations. We all outgrow our innocence and become intimate with our ignorance. But when do we get out of the basement? When we're grown? When the scent of flesh becomes a trigger and every glance a loaded weapon? When we're baptized? When the best porn is pumped intravenously and we delete eye contact altogether? When we're in love, right? When the definition of marriage becomes ready or not, here I come. The misogynoir of many a classic 90s joint has reminded me of this Old Testament chapter. I secretly asked my adolescent self if this made me gay. And then my favorite Uncle Colokoi told me without telling me as he passed to just be happy, Jay. And I am. Because I never got out of the basement. I just burned down the whole fucking building. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Yeah, I don't have any printed books on me, but I did bring from the future a QR code. It's in the back, and the QR code is it's a link to a Google Drive folder that has my ebooks, my music, my audio books, my bio, all of that. It's free. And then there's a Venmo and a Cash App QR code right next to it. So you're welcome to donate to the cause as well. But I definitely want y'all to have any work that I have. So please at least scan the code or take a picture of the code before you bounce and then check it out later. I think I got like one more poem. You know, I think y'all are so beautiful human beings for like subjecting yourself to this amount of discomfort. You know, lean into it. You're gonna grow, I promise. And it'll only hurt for a little while. Hey, thank you very much, Jesse. I really, really appreciate you. This last one I kind of want to read, but I'm going to ask your permission to read this because I realize I kind of gave this poem to you. It's ours. It's ours. I'm going to read this poem. It's a love poem. Okay. How to turn air into time in 10 steps. 1, be born to fly. Ruby-throated. Launch with the ease of a yes. Bounce about gravity, gracefully vibrate. As we migrate, mate and build Carry messages across continental divides. Be ready to die if you are deprived of this duty. Our lofty dreams depend upon your instinct to thrive, too. Whisper in gossamer hues. Holler a bright display of death becomes you. Touch you, watch me, flutter shy, cry rivers in honor of the extinct. Blink once you understand. Invite me into your vision, pleasure center sinner in a golden ratio of heaven to hell. We've been here before. Keep it moving. 3. Bury the past. We can come back for it later if you really need it. Freedom moves forward, upward, and outward. Imprisonment is simply separation from the natural evolution of the spirit. Space is a matter of respect. Do not throw shade. Shed light. 4. Swallow the scene whole. Be careful of the bones. Ignore the crown of thorns they give you. Purify the sound of your infinite resonance and connect it to the innocence of your youth before truth and shame became synonymous. 5. Anonymity is a virtue. Hidden between the layers are epiphanies. Free radicals writing the mantra the sage chants, words burning their way into the ether over stolen tongue, a palette bronzed by an alchemical priestess at peace with her crazy tears. Crystal 6. The day on which it was written that God made man. When I was 6, I had no doubt this was true, but by 7, it seemed I knew better. As a rift in time formed a line dividing heart and mind, shifting into a higher gear. Grandma, earth, arms open, offering everything to the moon and back, blood and a bayou in the backyard. 8. State your name and name your price early and often. They will change. This game of death is sold out. So sell out. Close. Close the sale. Observe and project light right where it's needed here. 9. Dance. A line like sound sine waves. Be brave enough to crash through mirrors, move, and like magic, you will change our entire perception of everything. Face your fears and make them fear your face. Smile and cry unfiltered. Fill each sinus with jasmine and lavender. Laugh at the cat. Let's twirl. Make melody a remedy for malady. 10, finally, grow old together. The world has never needed you more. Your song is as long as you sing it, satin-winged warriors. Sharpen your stars and shine upon our seas deep. We hereby deem you worthy of all you will ever desire. Thank y'all so very much. This is beautiful. Really, really appreciate it. Again, my name is Jason Santiago LaCour. Just Google it. You'll find me under all of the things. Otherwise, I'll see you in the streets. Peace. And I just got to give props to all these little tiny little worlds. Like, that's not Beetlejuice, is it? Is that, what is that particular? It's like 3D printed. Is that what this all is? Yeah. Also, this looks like it says yodeling. For a second, I was like, what? Yeah, I wanted to get up here and do it. But like, this is an amazing art installation too. So yeah, please explore and follow the artists in this room as well. All right. Thank y'all.
Joe Miller, Mia. We got food, we got books, and we got a donation box. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks for coming out. Like Joseph said, all this shit is ours here. Like, Works bought these lights and this mic and this little stand here and that projector and that screen over there and all this stuff. So about 70% of our funds come from just human beings. The rest from grants and that sort of stuff. But just people who give things, including in the little box at the front. So look us up. This is Gia, our gallery dog here. She's in hospice. So she's got cancer right now, but a lot of you guys have seen her for years and years, like out here. So so this might be her last one of her last events here. So say hi. She's saying hi to us. So so hang in there and thanks for coming out. Great to have Joseph again and to meet up with all y'all. So thanks for coming out and yeah. take some bananas because we can't take all those home, okay? Yeah, so yeah. Enjoy the show, yeah. Like Mike says, love you all. All right.